Well, hello and welcome back. JT here, back in the record room, and another Thrift Store Finds Monday. I did pretty good this last week, 10 days, so I'll show you what's going on with that. Now, here in Reno, in the Northern Sierras, we're going to have some snow tonight, but we had beautiful days right up like in the high 70s for the last 4 or 5 days. But that's so the weather's very changeable here in the high desert, and we're parked right up against the Sierra Nevada mountains, and one of the peaks goes up to about 11,000 foot in elevation, not as high as the Rockies, but we're literally right up against the mountains here in Reno, Nevada. So let me get started. These two are very, very recent finds, just 2 days ago, and these were $1.50, and very, very happy to have this one. This is a Jim Croce album, and I never had this one, so I was pretty stoked to see this one. And you know, when Jim Croce died in that plane crash in 1973, it was just so sad. We were all devastated. Everyone loved. I don't know anybody that didn't love Jim Croce, and he's from South Philadelphia, which is pretty cool. My mom's from South Philly, and an entertainer as well, and made her way west. But just fantastic, and so many good songs on this one. Let me show you. So this is Greatest Character Songs. And really, really neat to have. This is on his Life Song label. And this is released after his death. This is from about 1978. And it's not an expensive album. It's just so many. I mean, Roller Derby Queen is on here. It's just, you know, you don't mess around with Jim. Bad, Bad Leroy Brown. Working at the Car Wash Blues. Bunch of good songs, and a few that you just don't see on other comps. So I do like comps. So second up, now this is something, I don't see anybody showing this, and this woman is the original Delta lady for Joe Cocker's Mad Dogs and Englishmen, the tour. And she was a backup singer. She's from Lafayette, Tennessee, and you guys, that's Rita Coolidge. And she's of Cherokee and Scott ancestry. And, you know, she married Chris Christopherson. There's so much to say about her. She wrote the piano part, the coda for Layla, and never got credited for that. She showed it to Eric, and he liked it. Very interesting. This is her third release, and this is just so clean. This is near mint. And in the last few months, I've wanted to find her first three releases. This is the third, and I'm going to find the first one and the second one. I really want them. These are my favorite because it's very country rock, folk rock, a little popular, not as streamlined as her later big hits from Jackie Wilson's Higher and Higher. But she sang backup for Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, Leon Russell, Dave Mason, Eric Clapton, Graham Nash, and Stephen Stills. And you could really hear her. I can just hear her voice on Stephen Stills' debut. His very first record was just incredibly fantastic. So Rita Coolidge, here she is, the Delta lady. And her next album was Chris and Rita. And Chris Christopherson and Rita Coolidge did 3 albums together. And the best one is that Chris and Rita record. And here's the gatefold. So again, Rita Coolidge. This is from 1971. And next up, you know, I forgot that I had this. And I found this only about 6 or 8 months ago. And I'm my favorite thrift store, thumbing through all the trashy records, right? And this is all of $1.50. And this here, what is this? Right? This Black Album? Yeah, this is the Tap, 1984 Spinal Tap. Really cool to have this, the soundtrack. And let me show you a little bit of this. So that's the gatefold. Here's the here's the boys. And this is on just the red poly door. Let me show you. There we go. So Spinal Tap, you know, I showed them what it was last week or something, but really great to have that one. And my next record is a gentleman, a Canadian songwriter, singer, epic, iconic gentleman. And I stated that he was the best Canadian songwriter ever, singer. You know, one of the best, of course, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young. But this is Gordon Lightfoot, and this is If You Could Read My Mind. And I wanted to show this because this is, you know, this is his big one. And this was originally Sit Down Young Stranger. And this is from 1970, his 6th album. But, you know, you have Approaching Lavender on here. I love that song. That's one of my all-time favorite. I mean, what can you say about Gordon Lightfoot? I mean, Dylan is such a fan of him. In interviews, he'll just speak so highly of Gordon Lightfoot, and for good reason. So I wanted to show one more Gordon Lightfoot record. I have the first 14 actually, all in a row from his first release through about the 14th. No, I think I'm missing one. Not Endless Wire. Yeah, I have Endless Wire on CD. Anyhow, love Gordon Lightfoot. Once again. And this record, this was cool. I love finding, and I do have a little story for this. This is Peggy Lee, Mink Jazz. And, you know, she was born in North Dakota. And this is from 1963, recorded in Hollywood at Capitol Records in Studio B. That was a famous, famous studio. My mother and her hung out. Peggy Lee was entertaining here in Reno, Nevada. Reno, the thing is, was it had a golden age of entertainment. There was, it was very hot back then, equal to Las Vegas. Although, as in my mother's words, Las Vegas was just a bit more spectacular than Reno. Reno was smaller. Before, in the 40s, there were dude ranches. A lot of high-profile people came to Reno to visit, to gamble. Again, Nevada was the only state where gambling was legalized in the United States for a really, really long time. So everybody came to Nevada. Peggy Lee was headlining at the Hotel Riverside, and my mother was a chorus girl and worked with Peggy on that show. And after the show, they wanted to go to a cocktail party. And great story, my mother, Peggy was still in her dress, you know, beautiful, dressed just immaculately. And my mother said she was so nice, so classy, so beautiful. And Peggy was 10 years older than my mother. This was about 1952. My mom was 22 in 52. And together they went to a local cocktail party. And it was a lot of jet setters and kind of their own rat pack here in town back in the day. And it was really, here in town, it was really like that right up through, let's say, the 80s. Well, through the 70s, anyhow, late 70s. And then it got real glitzy. And anyhow, yeah, a lot of history, a lot of Nevada history here in northern Nevada, equal to the Las Vegas history. So Peggy Lee. And now, the honey hole that I discovered is a place called Somewhere in Time in the south part of Midtown Reno, Nevada. It's a real trendy area now for downtown Reno. It's called Midtown, and David has been a really great guy to meet. It's his store, Somewhere in Time. It's a secondhand store, antique mall, more or less, and he didn't mind that I mentioned him, and I'm so glad to, because I have a few records to show you. They were all right at $4, and thank you, David, so much. And the first one, guys, is 10,000 Maniacs from 1987 in my tribe. And this is really the first 10,000 Maniacs record to receive really, really large-scale success. And really stoked to have this. When he showed me that he had these records for me to buy if I wanted to buy them, and I did want to buy them. Yeah, there's actually another one too. So glad to have this one in my tribe. And this is on Electra. Okay, we'll keep moving here. Now this next record, this is all from what David showed me, and I picked about, I don't know, about 6, 7 records. This was last Tuesday. Guys, Charlie Daniels, the debut, sealed. Look at that. I'm really, really excited to have this one. This is from 1971, and you can't really pigeonhole the style here because he just really, I mean, he was setting a whole new genre with this record, really. Recorded in Nashville, and Charlie Daniels was a session musician all through the 60s, guitar and electric bass. And he was on 3 different Bob Dylan albums, guitar and bass guitar, and on Leonard Cohen records. That's Charlie Daniels. You know, you might not think whatever, but total pro. And when he started with his own records, this is the first one. This is fantastic. Now I stream this because it is sealed, and I remember hearing this album years ago. Here's the songs. And again, this was $4 sealed. And, you know, a real big deal right now for my next record is the new Tears for Fears record. A lot of people in the vinyl community are buying it. Well, David had this one for me. This is called the Duck Pond cover, and this is the debut for Tears for Fears, The Hurting. Really, really excited to have this one. So, next record, guys. So cool to have. This is ZZ Top, Diguelo, and I have had this since release, but this is a near mint minus copy, and so glad to have this. So this is my best copy now. Wonderful. I'm a fool for your stocking. So many great tracks on this. I'm Bad, I'm Nationwide. I Thank You is the opening track. Dust My Broom, Cheap Sunglasses. This is my top 4 ZZ Top, if not my top 3. Let me show you the back. Diguelo, and I've always known what that means in Spanish. You can look it up. It's pretty intense. So there we go. And here's the boys. You got Frank, Dusty, and Billy. And this cool custom label, absolutely. Man, I love ZZ Top so much. And again from David, and that was from David, $4. These are all $4. 10,000 Maniacs, again, Blind Man Zoo. Really wonderful to have this, right? I have this all on CD, but to have this on vinyl is just fantastic. And great inner sleeve photo of Natalie Merchant and the band. For Blind Man Zoo. All right, and next up, what an artist. And you can say, you hear the word underrated a lot with him, but he's not underrated. It's just that he's underrated in the terms of, yes, and this is Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow, amazing album produced by George Martin. And this is from 1975, all instrumental, no vocals on this one, jazz fusion, but he's underrated in the fact that he's equal to all of the greats, all of them, Hendrix, Jimmy Page, all of them, you name it, yes. The great, the man, Jeff Beck, glad to have this one. I think I have this one, but this is a definite upgrade. And look at that, the back there. And you have Constipated Duck on here. Freeway Jam. She's a woman. Really fantastic. Once again, Blow by Blow. Jeff Beck from 1975. And this was $4 from David at Somewhere in Time in Reno. If you're in town, stop by. And next, this is from 1975, and this is a second Charlie Daniels album, Night Rider. And I have this, but this is clearly a nice upgrade. This is easily near mint minus. I don't know, all the sellers online that I contact, they would call this a mint. I get so many guys that overgrade. It's just a little frustrating, but anyway, it's just the way it is. I'd rather buy records locally, actually, or go to Recycled Records here in Reno to actually see the record in condition. Yeah, so really happy to have that one. I'd like to get the other two first Charlie Daniels. Now, this is the last one from David at Somewhere in Time. And I saw this, and this is Strange Days, The Doors. Look at the condition on this. And yes, this is a second or third press, but I don't care. It's so clean, and I did not have this. So great to add to my Doors on vinyl. Strange Days from 1970. Should be from 1970. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the fantastic inner sleeve. What am I'm really off here. It's from 1967. It's still a little early for me. So here's the inner sleeve. And it's on the red Electra. So yes, this is a second and third press. And I do need to clean it, but it's just in near mint condition. And two more records to go. This is a cool one. This is from 1970. I'm sure about that. Definitely. And this is the British band and artist Mungo Jerry. And this is the debut. And this is, this is pop, this is psych, this is folk rock. And in the summertime, when that song used to come on the radio, I mean, everybody just stopped what they were doing pretty much and just put a smile on your face. Great song, still love it, so cool. Mungo Jerry. And the original album, if you put 3D glasses on, it would show in 3D. And yeah, this cover was the 3D part and the inner jacket, actually the gatefold rather. So Mungo Jerry, and this is on Janus Records. This is the side one. And my last record today, just a little story. I work on 4th Street in downtown Reno, Nevada, and a long time ago, this is 10 years ago, I was at a thrift store that is no more. And I wasn't finding anything. It was all, typical thrift store record junk. And there was one record, and it was sealed. And that's John Coltrane, Giant Steps, for 25 cents. Yeah, seriously. And I was like, it's like the skies parted and the angels sang, oh, it was one of those moments, right? And this, granted, this is a second or third press, probably from the early 80s, but it was sealed. And I remember I was going to keep it sealed because I had it on CD, but I played it and it sounds fantastic. Quiet, great soundstage, the whole bit. So happy to have this. Don't ever have any urge to upgrade my Giant Steps by John Coltrane from 1960. And on this record, you have Tommy Flanagan, Wynton Kelly, Paul Chambers, and Art Taylor. I mean, what a lineup, right? And look at the back. And there it is. It's on the Atlantic. This could be a press from about, I'd have to look into it, I'd say from the early 70s, actually. I'll look into that. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. And there's the inner sleeve. And, I could upgrade the inner sleeve, but I like the original Atlantic paper sleeve. So, all right, we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.